Good morning, people with taste buds. Here's a video for your taste buds. So I normally run a channel where I do robot models and I paint monsters and stuff, but this is a channel that it's my channel and I do what I want. But actually, that's not the truth. My channel is run by RX78 and if I don't do what he says, he's gonna shoot me in the face. So he says I have to make a video on hot sauce today. So here we are. So actually what happened was, on Reddit the other day, I posted that I know how to make hot sauce good. And I guess some of you fools believe me, so I have to actually like prove my worth now at this point. But actually, I can't not be an idiot in the video. The point that I wanted to do here is a lot of people also have asked me to make my sauce and sell it because they really like the flavor of it. But that's a lot of work for me. I'm a very busy man. I don't have time to make the sauce. Also, it's a big pain in the ass to like ship it to people and make sure the bottle doesn't bust and make sure nobody gets sick. You know, it's food industry stuff. And until the day comes when I can clone 5 copies of myself, there's not going to be a Chef Logan out there making stuff and selling it. But that doesn't mean you can't have my hot sauce. That's the cool thing. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to give away the secret recipe because it's what I'm wanting to do. And so let's just talk about some fundamentals of food and sauces, and we're going to get to the sauce. And by the time at the end of this video, if you understand what I'm telling you, you don't even need like the recipe. You understand the foundations of flavor and stuff, and then you can wing your own, and then you can make your own sauces and sell it for all I care. Go make your fucking, I don't know, apple hot sauce. Actually, apple hot sauce is really good, or apple barbecue sauce is really good. I've had it before. Apple cinnamon, by the way, banger shit. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the topic at hand today. So the first thing that we need to cover are the different kinds of flavors. And before one of you jumps on me in the comments, I know hot is not a technical flavor that has a taste bud receptor, but it's part of the fucking hot sauce, so shut up. So you have different flavors that you have to cover, right? Because like your tongue can pretty much detect salty stuff, sweet stuff, sour stuff. It's not a taste, but hot makes your tongue do a thing. And umami. And some people who aren't into chef and stuff don't understand what umami is. That is like, it's kind of the flavor of a cooked tomato. It's what MSG was invented to basically make a chemical to just do it. And by the way, MSG is not bad for you. That's old, shitty racist science that's been completely disproven. The guy who wrote that study recanted it. So you can actually totally just use MSG for the umami portion of it. But for today's lesson, we're not going to, it's not on the list. You can do it. I do it very regularly, but we have other things that cover these bases. So, the discussion on the Reddit post the other day was about how like a lot of the really hot sauces just don't taste good. And that was what led me to make my own hot sauce because I was just dissatisfied. I remember like really liking hot stuff. Like I discovered Reaper peppers after living in South Carolina for a while. And I'm like, fuck, this hot stuff's really fun. But most of the sauces you buy taste like, I don't know, taste like plastic or cough syrup and just suck. And it's like, why can't it be hot and hurt me and taste delicious at the same time, right? Well, guess what? It can. You're gonna. So usually the problem is like the manufacturer of the hot sauce is focused entirely on the novelty of the heat, and they could care less what it actually tastes like. That's why it tastes like shit, because any company can do this. I'm not special. This is not expensive. This is just a fact of food. People sell hot sauces out of novelty. The bomb from Hot Ones is fucking disgusting. But anyway, so the thing is that the goodness of the hot sauce will be subjective based on what you like in a sauce. Because some people don't like sweet heat. I love sweet heat, but you don't have to put sugar in your hot sauce. You don't have to have sweetness at all. I'm basically giving you the skeleton and the template that you can tweak, right? So there are things that hot sauce has to have. So hot sauce pretty much has to have vinegar. So if you don't like hot sauce, you probably don't like sour. So that's pretty much just a given. Everything from Frank's to fucking Valentina has vinegar in some way, shape, or form. Guess what? Big surprise. Peppers are part of it too, right? What is the other thing I'm going to tell you? Is that you can get a better flavor out of your pepper by fermenting or aging or pickling it. I've done all the different ways. My preference is pickling because it's easy and it's my favorite flavor. Well, Logan, how do you pickle a pepper? Dude, this is the easiest shit in the world, okay? You take your pepper, you cut it up. You get your little jar here. There's your little mason jar, right? And then you take your cut peppers and you fill the mason jar with little peppers. Why am I doing this? Because I can't do a video and do food things at the same time. Sorry, deal with it. There's your jar full of peppers. Well, what do you do at that point? Then you take about half the jar. You fill it up with vinegar. And then, oh, you got another half of the jar. What are you going to do? You're going to fill the other half with water. This is every pickling solution in the world. So you displace, the peppers will displace a certain portion of the jar. The rest of the jar is filled up with vinegar and water. And then at that point, depending on what flavor of a pickled thing you want, I personally add a combination, because there'll usually be a little bit of space in the top of the jar. I'll usually do a mixture of salt and sugar. I like pickled things to be a little sweet. That's what I do. If you don't like sweet stuff, just fucking add some salt. Let that sit in your fridge a week. You got pickled peppers for your recipe. Good job. So you need to have vinegar. You need to have your pickled peppers for this. Or you can do other peppers, I don't give a shit, but this just in my opinion makes best flavor. Water when you're cooking, because if you were making this hot sauce with just vinegar and you're cooking on the stovetop, you're like fumigating the whole fucking house with just vinegar, pepper, and you're gonna die. But also if you do it with just vinegar, it's too vinegary of a sauce for me and for most people. So you want to add water to balance that out. Salt, and everything you cook in the kitchen takes some motherfucking salt, obviously. Now comes to the subjective pieces of the hot sauce that are my kind of mandatories, because I like a sweet heat. Sugar. I like brown sugar for sauces. You can use table sugar. I've used table sugar in sauces, white sugar, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Nobody was like, this would be better with brown sugar. So it's just my personal preference. Soy sauce. This is where umami comes to play in your sauce. It comes to play in my sauce. I like Silver Swan dark soy sauce. I just personally think it has the best umami punch. You can get it for real cheap for a giant bottle at your wonderful, friendly local Asian grocery store. It's good stuff. Silver Swan soy sauce. I hope you're taking notes today. You'll learn more than sauce things today. Then comes your flavor base, because you're usually not going to make a straight hot sauce. You're usually going to add some flavors to it, right? So maybe you wanted a peach habanero hot sauce. That flavor base would be the peaches. By the way, I'm sorry to hop back here. I try to keep this as concise as possible. Peppers. Notice how I just said peppers. I didn't say jalapeno peppers. I didn't say Reaper peppers. I said peppers. You put whatever fucking pepper you want in here based on your spice level. If you don't want these very hot, if you don't want your sauce very hot, you could use straight jalapeno peppers, and that's it. If you want to kill your butthole, you could go straight in with some Trinidad scorpion peppers. That's up to you. That's your choice of what pepper. The process is the same. So your peppers and your flavor base will be the majority of your flavor for your sauce. Spices will, of course, be part of the flavor base too. As you'll see in my video, I use, what's it called? A Szechuan peppercorn. It provides what they call a numb sensation. It kind of makes your mouth do that weird thing from those sore throat cough drops. A lot of Asian spicy stuff puts that in there to make it to where you can eat hotter stuff than normal, and it kind of balances the feeling of the kind of tingly with the hot. But yeah, your flavor base is usually going to be the stuff that gives the flavor. So for me, that's why fruit's a question mark. Fruit's always a must for me because I like sweet heat. And I've used every kind of fruit you can imagine. This video today has lychee fruit. That was a first for me. It has kind of a pineapple-y flavor, sort of, but it's its own flavor. Lychee's awesome. And then for my sweet heat, I also like a lot of umami. I use this stuff called gochujang. Gochujang is a paste that, if I'm correct here, it is made with fermented rice and peppers. It's a dark red paste, and it is basically just pure umami, but it's a little bit different than soy sauce. It's got a different flavor, a very distinct flavor. A long time ago, I had a gochujang ketchup from one of my best friend's house, and it blew my mind. I'm like, I gotta know about this shit. Then I went and got gochujang, and I discovered that if you go to Publix, you can get a tiny little tube for $6. And I'm like, gosh, this is expensive. And then I went and discovered friendly local Asian grocery store that had this Silver Swan soy sauce, and they had a massive tub of like a kilo of this shit for like $4 or $5. Don't pay the rich people tax and buy it at Publix. Go buy this at your friendly local Asian grocery store, because they will have it for cheap. And it's usually called gochujang paste, but it may also be called hot pepper paste. It's usually in a dark red Tupperware container that's roughly rectangular. You can't miss it when you're looking for it. But this, for me, is a foundation for all of my hot sauces and barbecue sauces. So that's why it's pretty much always in my stuff. But you see what this is here? I've given you the tools here. I don't ever tell you measurement. I'm never going to say 2 cups of blah, blah, blah. Because I don't do that as a person who pretends to be a chef. And I would be doing you a disservice, because your individual flavor, taste, palette will differ from me. So what you do, basically, and you're going to see in here, is I throw in a pot. I throw in the peppers. I throw in vinegar. I throw in water. I throw in some salt. And then usually whatever the flavor base is, and I cook that down for about 20-ish minutes. And at that point, these get tweaked by hand every time. What you do is you add a little salt, you add a little sugar, you add a little soy sauce, you add a little gochujang. You tweak these back and forth to taste. For the love of God, I know recipes are wonderful if you don't know what you're doing, but the problem with recipes usually is it's not about a to taste. Your individual preferences are not going to be found in a cup or a tablespoon. It's going to be caused by you sitting in the kitchen and throwing stuff in, letting it sit for 2 minutes, stir it, taste it, and then tweak as you go. None of my hot sauces, most of my food that I ever have done, I don't fucking measure things other than making like a roux, because that requires precise portions to make like gravy. But the lesson here is, you add your base stuff in here, then you start to add the optionals, and you tweak the optionals until you get the right amount of salt, sweet, sour, hot, and umami that you prefer. And if you follow these and you tweak these at the portion where you tweak the salt and the sweet and stuff together, you will get your perfect hot sauce. Not my perfect hot sauce, your perfect hot sauce. And essentially, like, you cook it down, you blend it with an immersion blender, or you can, if you want to wait and let it cool down and dump it in like a regular blender, you can. I don't have time or patience, so I use an immersion blender to blend it right there in the pot. And you blend it down to there's like no lumps in the stuff, because that's lumps are flavor, and you're going to be filtering this sauce. And if you don't blend it and there's more lumps, you're losing flavor. Because what you do is you blend it down to where there are no visible lumps in that stuff, and you pour it through like a thin wire strainer that will catch most of the lumps, which will clog the tip of your hot sauce bottle and make you an unhappy person. But it gives you a nice smooth mixture that's not too chunky, that goes in a squeeze bottle and will squeeze out all over your favorite food. And that's it. That's fucking it. This is not magic. This is fundamentals. And you deserve to have delicious sauce that you make yourself. It's probably going to be cheaper than buying it at the store, and then it will be exactly the way you want it to taste. Pretty cool, huh? What's not cool is I did shoot some footage for this video that I'm going to put in this video, I think. But because I didn't do audio in it, I'll have to like put music or something and put text, because again, like, I cannot work in the kitchen and hold a phone with a camera and do my thing and talk at the same time. My brain just can't process all that at once. So I'll put the video stuff at the end of this, and then maybe I'll pick some kind of music. Don't worry, I won't put death metal or something, because I know not everybody likes brutal music. I'll pick something kind of nice and chill. It's for a chill atmosphere while you're making hot sauce. So anyway, that's what this video is going to be. So let's go ahead and go to the other stuff.
love, roses all around. We're living out these diamond schemes, flipping down. We're slipping in between.
You done did your thing. Here's your final product. This is what was in the bowl, dumped into soft bottles. I will usually have enough for several of these, therefore I have to use the cling wrap to seal them so they don't get funky while I'm eating usually the first bottle of the stuff. But here's your wonderful hot sauce. Pretty cool, huh? So I hope you enjoyed this.